show you how to make tuna, sweet corn and potato cakes, a bit like a fish cake, but using tuna and sweet corn in there. So here I've already prepared a bowl of mashed potato. So I choose to do this especially if I'm making another recipe that uses mashed potato, like the cottage pie. I cook extra potatoes, and it's 300 grams of unpeeled potatoes in here, which have just been cooked through to soft and then mashed into this bowl. And most importantly, chilled. So this is really nice and cold now, this potato in here. This is 2 tins of tuna, which I've emptied out into here and just flaked. And I will be using a tin of sweet corn to mix in with this. And then we're going to beat some eggs in a bowl because we'll be dipping our cakes into those. And I'm going to put some breadcrumbs in here because we'll be putting them in there to coat them in breadcrumbs before we cook them as well. So the first thing is to add the tuna to the potato and mix it in well. I'll start to get my tuna mixed in and then add the sweet corn afterwards. So that I don't forget to do it, I'm actually going to season my mixture now with some pepper and a little bit of salt as well. Not much salt, just enough to give it a bit of a hint of flavouring. And I'm also putting into here a good shaking, about a teaspoon and a half of mixed herbs going in there as well. That's optional, you can leave that out if you don't like them. You can see I've mixed that in, not too much, not to make it like a smooth mush, but so that you've still got some decent and visible bits of the tuna in there. And now I'm ready to add my tin of sweet corn, which I'm just going to mix in until that's well mixed as well. So it doesn't matter if the sweet corn's not completely encased. These you won't get it to completely mix in, but just so that it's evenly distributed through the mixture and everybody in their cake is going to get a good mix of everything. I'm going to just break my 2 eggs into here. And beat those well together so that there's no separation at all between the yolks and the whites. You want it to evenly coat the cakes when you use it, so it is worth making sure that this is very well mixed. I'm just going to pop that on one side, and then into this bowl, which is a nice wide but shallow bowl, I'm going to tip some of these breadcrumbs. Now I'm using a pack of pre-made breadcrumbs, but you can make your own breadcrumbs, particularly if you've got a mixer or a blender of some sort. Old stale bread, blend it all up, and just pop it in a box and leave it for 2 or 3 days until it's properly dried out. The thing is not to use fresh bread, it needs to be very well dried. So we'll see how we go with that. I've lined everything up ready. It literally is a shape here, a dip and a cover here, and then onto the plate where they're going to go into the fridge to cool. So you need to judge what a portion is in your house. Obviously you can make these smaller if you're making them for children, or you can make them much larger if they're for adults. Shape your patty cake like that, dip it completely in the egg, and then just let the excess drain off there. And then quickly lay it into the breadcrumbs and turn it so that it's entirely covered like that, and then just shake the excess off those and lay them onto your plate, because they'll be going into the fridge to chill. And then you just keep repeating that process in large and small sized patties until you've used up all of the mixture, and then pop it all into the fridge to chill for half an hour before you bring it back out and try and cook it. So the patties have been chilling in the fridge now for about half an hour, so they're nicely cool before we're going to cook them. So I've just put a little bit of oil in the bottom of my pan, which I'm going to get on and heat. And as you can see, these can be kept chilled in a fridge for 24 hours before you cook them, or when we've finished just frying either side, you can layer them in this sort of greaseproof paper and pop them in your freezer, and they'll keep for quite a while. So I'm just going to start by doing these ones. So I've put the oil in the pan, as I said, and just heated that so that it's actually really quite hot now, and moved it around enough to make sure that the whole of the bottom of my pan is covered, otherwise these will stick as they're cooking. And then I'm just going to pop each of these into the pan and fry them for 3 to 5 minutes on either side until the patty's warmed through. And if they've been in the fridge, they'll definitely need 5 minutes on either side, otherwise they'll be cold in the middle. But we want the outside coating nice and brown. So those are in the pan. I'm going to leave those now for 5 minutes and then turn them over halfway through. So these have had about 5-6 minutes on either side now, and as you can see, they're a lovely golden colour. This is how I like mine. You can do yours less or even more if you want to. So now take them out of the pan and pop them on a plate. If you're keeping them warm, put them into the oven for a little while, just on a very low heat, just to keep them warm until you want to serve them. If you're freezing them, pop them on the greaseproof paper, let them cool thoroughly, and then get them into your freezer, and then again warm them in an oven like you would a fish finger or something when you defrost them. Otherwise serve these now with perhaps some steamed vegetables or a salad on the side.